What's the difference between OKRs and management by objectives? I work as a strategic advisor to businesses, helping them with their performance and their strategy, and I also work as a non-executive director for businesses. And one of the discussions that often comes up is, how do we best manage our performance? How do we align our strategic goals, agree the goals we need to deliver, and then monitor and manage the performance? And OKRs and management by objectives are two tools you can use, and I just want to look at the difference between them. So management by objectives was developed in 1954 by Peter Drucker, and he wrote a book called The Practice of Management. And this was very influential, and he basically said that organizations need to work towards common goals. And one way to do this is that a manager would sit down with the people reporting to him or her and define what those goals are on an annual basis usually. And then you would monitor performance and then usually link compensation to those as well. So you would then get a bonus payment if you deliver your goals that you have set with your manager. OKRs stand for objectives and key results. And this is a trendy approach at the moment because lots of the Silicon Valley giants, from Facebook to Google and others, have used this approach recently to manage their performance, but the concept is actually not new. The concept of OKRs was developed by Andy Grove, who was the CEO of Intel in the 1980s. And John Doerr was someone that worked for Andy Grove at Intel, and then John Doerr left to work for a venture capital firm. And he was one of the early investors into Google. And he basically took this idea that he learned about at Intel and said, okay, how about Google using these objectives and key results approach might really work for you. They then adopted this, which then meant it spread through Silicon Valley as a current best practice. So OKRs are basically split into two parts. Objectives, where you define what you want to achieve, and the key results, where you define how you will achieve them. So on the surface, they sound very similar. What I want to do now is to look at the difference between them to highlight why they're not the same. The first difference is that they're defining different things. Management by objectives define what you want to achieve, while OKRs go a bit further. They define what you want to achieve and how you're going to achieve it. So that's the first difference. The second difference is how often you repeat this process. So management by objectives is usually done annually on these annual goal setting cycles, whereas objectives and key results are set at least quarterly, so they are much more frequently. The third difference is how transparent this process is. So the management by objectives are usually set privately between you and your boss, and they're usually set in silos, whereas OKRs are transparent. They're set between you and your boss, but then they're made public, so anyone can see anyone else's OKRs. So this is a complete transparent process where anyone in the organization, right from the CEO to anyone else, can understand what the objectives of someone else are. The fourth main difference is the link to compensation. So Peter Drucker suggested that you link your management by objectives to compensation. So when you deliver your goals, you get a bonus payment, for example. John Doerr, in his OKR approach, suggests that linking OKRs to compensation is dangerous because it drives the wrong behaviors. The whole idea is that you make it transparent, you set ambitious goals, and if you link it to compensation, is the tendency is that you create a culture where people aim for the minimum they can deliver instead of the most ambitious goal they might be able to achieve. Which links me to the fifth main difference, that management by objectives is actually quite risk averse, where you don't really set these ambitious goals, where you're not really aspiring to achieve the most. It's more about a negotiation process where you say, this is the minimum I'm happy to commit to. Whereas what you want to do with the OKR approach is you want to create an organizational culture where people set ambitious goals and where it is okay not to deliver all of them, but it's much better to have a really aspirational goal and to deliver 80% of those than to set a really low goal and deliver all of them. So this is a cultural difference where you basically, with OKRs, you're trying to create the safe space where people are comfortable to set really ambitious goals, make them really transparent and that anyone in the organization can see them, which then creates this culture of driving towards amazing performance results. So hopefully that highlights what the differences are. Head to my channel if you want to learn more about OKRs or management by objectives or good performance management. I've done a few videos that go into detail on how you actually develop good OKRs and how companies like Google are actually putting this into practice.